What do we look for in a business? We start with the really basic stuff. Create assets, create things that earn money, create revenue streams, the more the better. Of course, this is not something new for you. I just have to mention it because it's extremely important, all important. And when creating the assets, don't trust the future. Some assets are assets if you look at them like, okay, I have a big media with a lot of visitors who read the news every day. This asset is also a liability because you have to publish news articles every day. If you trust the future that you're gonna always have people writing the articles and you always have advertisers, everything is good, but one bad period can really kill this business. If you have no advertisers, your business is dead. And if for a moment there's no one to write the news, for example, the writers get on a strike, want huge salaries, and the business is dead again. So you need to have some option for everything that can happen in the future. Otherwise, the business will die. All of the businesses that die, the 70% that fail, they don't fail in good moments, they all fail in bad moments. So the bad moments are what you need to be preparing for. And you always need to know that if you have a single business model, a single revenue stream, bad moments will arrive sooner or later. Very few business models are extremely trouble-proof. Your local economy will change, the digital sphere changes, laws change, regulations change. There are a lot of things that can really kill a business if it's the type of business that can be killed with one blow. Try to minimize liabilities. If you have liabilities like the restaurant has a rent, you always have a high chance of this thing bringing you down. Well, if you look at rent and rent is like $1,000 a month, it doesn't look like a lot. But if you see how much this is for 10 years ahead, you'll be pretty scared of what you're getting into if you're in it for the long term. So again, super basic, but don't create liabilities, extremely important. Don't have a single point of failure. Many businesses or startups have a single point of failure. For most startups that are trying to build something really high-tech, like the better engine for a plane or something, especially if it's not some marketplace, but something hardware in the real world, if they don't get funding, it's their single point of failure. Building physical things is so hard and expensive, and always there are a lot of problems you didn't foresee that just no investment, no startup, no business, no success, no nothing. So this is a single point of failure. Of course, for some projects it's inevitable, but still, if you can find a way to make it without this single point of failure, if instead of investors, before you try the startup, you ask for people to prepay. So the real way to realize if someone would really want a product is not ask them, will you use this product if it existed? Because you get a mostly random answer. People who want to be nice, to support you, they'll say, yeah, sure, why not? But the real question is, would you prepay? If people would prepay, the pain that you're solving is big enough. If no one wants to prepay, you're fucked. It's not a real business model, and your chances of success are extremely questionable. Of course, this is not something new. You can read this in a lot of places. Don't launch with an indispensable co-founder. People are people, they change, they have their issues. And even if two people start a startup with the best intentions, things may change in a lot of different ways. And through no fault of anyone, we're not talking about fault here, we're not talking about people being evil, just with the changes that life serves us without warning. So if you start with someone who is indispensable, so for example, it's a tech startup and you're the business guy, know nothing about tech, and the other guy is the tech guy, and he knows nothing about business, this is like the typical recipe for disaster. First, you're gonna have different expectations, who value differently what you contribute because you know nothing about how to evaluate the other's contribution, but also mostly just random changes like someone getting other opportunities, becoming very busy. A lot of projects fail because just the people are very well-meaning but just turn out to be too busy. They get more that they can handle on their plate. So yeah, the indispensable co-founder is a big single point of failure. If you want to partner with someone, consider just hiring. If you have the money to hire, you can just hire and maybe give them small equity, but not just doing this 50-50 thing where you're indispensable and you both have shared responsibility. I'm a big no fan of shared responsibility. This is how things fail. The responsibility has to be clearly with someone more than another, and in most startups, even if it's 50-50, in reality one is the senior partner, the other is the junior partner, one is the engine, the other is the support. So things are never equal in life. It's just, these are not scales there. Someone will always have more free time, more knowledge, more energy, more money. And even if one contributes more energy and the other contributes more money, it's more of an investing thing than a partnership thing. As you see, I'm giving you a lot of don't advice. Don't do this, don't do that. Don't launch a restaurant. Don't have a single point of failure. This may seem in the kind of positive culture of today, where people support each other and try not to tell the ugly truth in each other's faces. Don't advice is a bit unpopular. But if you think about it, if you think it in long-term freedom terms, don't advice is better, because if you say to someone, do this, it's a great idea, you are narrowing their vision, because you're telling them this is a great idea, ignore other ideas. If you say don't, it's much better, because you are not closing their worldview, you're actually expanding it. Well, they may feel a bit demotivated if their beautiful pet idea, which is like their child, seems great to them, but you tell them, it's a stupid idea, don't do it. But this is exactly what you should do if you believe that the idea is actually stupid. And if you, of course, have the experience to stand by this opinion. Definitely don't advise better than do advise in most cases, in order to expand the horizon, not narrow it. So let's see two real business cases. Business case one is running a restaurant. You invest and you try to make people happy, serve good food, have happy clients who smile at you, and all of this sounds great. And when you run a restaurant, it's one of the hardest businesses ever. 40% of restaurants fail in the first 5 years, and the failure of restaurants is a nasty thing, because you invested so much into the food, the recipes, the interior of the place, and hiring people and making this a popular place, and it's all of this value is lost then, because after this it's not even, even if it's still a restaurant, it will be by different owners, food will be different, staff will be different, everything people would love about this restaurant will be lost if the restaurant goes out of business. So it's not something we want. And why does it happen? Why is it such a hard business? Well, the problem is that people want to make people happy. And this, in the economy, it turns out it's a problem. It's actually one of the biggest problems in the economy, that people are nice, people are good, that people put people above money, even if they think they are commercially driven, they do it for the money, they still put people, even if it's for their own shortcomings and their own psychological issues, that they need validation and all of this. If it's selfish or unselfish or whatever, it doesn't matter. People want to make other people happy. They want human connection. They want to be smiled at. They don't want unhappy customers. And in most businesses, this is the leading thing, making good people and services and happy people. And this is the problem, because capitalism doesn't take this into account. Between industries, if certain industry has its place on the market, but it doesn't make people happy, like our industry, the domain names, it doesn't really make anyone happy. It's just there because there's a place for it, but it doesn't really create anything of value, any goods or services. So we are just, let's say, annoying middlemen in the internet economy, but we make our money, and we don't make people happy, but we don't make them unhappy most of the time. So it's not that bad. We're in between the really ugly industries and the industries that are nice and make people happy, stuff like travel and entertainment. But the more happy the industry makes people, like travel, entertainment, think about how competitive these industries are. Travel is extremely competitive, so what happens? A lot of business failures, low wages, long working hours, all of this. But if it's entertainment, it's even harder. Think of how many people write books, write music, sing, dance, all of this. How hard is it to make money out of this? Why? Too many people do it. And the ones that do it for fun, great, but the ones that do it for money, they're fucked. Capitalism doesn't take this into account. Also, the worst idea in capitalism is to do for money something that the competition does for fun. This is like the worst, because you're trying to create something and make money, and you have competition that's earning money and competition that does it for fun. So a ton of extra competition. So never do this for the money. And what you should do is do things that bring money and don't explicitly are the typical things that we associated with making people happy. They make business owners happy. Still a thing. A lot of our domain buyers are happy because they use the domain to make more money. So the world will shit on you if you open a restaurant. The economy will put you in the worst possible place.